I never thought a simple invisible fence would lead me into a full-blown war with my HOA. For years, I lived peacefully in my quiet suburban neighborhood. I loved my home, my community, and most of all, my dog, Max. He was my companion, my best friend, and having that invisible fence gave me peace of mind. Max could roam freely in the yard without me constantly worrying. But then, everything changed. One seemingly normal afternoon, I got a notice from the HOA saying I had to remove the invisible fence immediately. They claimed it was a violation of community rules. What followed was a battle that tested my patience, my sanity, and the limits of neighborhood politics. Before all the trouble began, I carefully researched and installed the invisible fence system. It was a safe, humane solution to keep Max safe without building a traditional ugly fence that would ruin the aesthetic of my yard. The fence consisted of a buried wire perimeter and a special collar that gently corrected Max whenever he tried to cross the boundary. No wires visible, no loud barks, just peace and freedom for Max. I even checked the HOA rules beforehand and didn't find anything explicitly forbidding invisible fences. I thought I was in the clear. Then came the day I found a letter slipped under my door, a formal warning from the HOA. They said the invisible fence was considered a visual intrusion or non-conforming structure, and I had 30 days to remove it or face hefty fines. I was stunned. How could something invisible be a visual intrusion? I went to the HOA meeting to defend myself, hoping for understanding. Instead, I was met with cold stares and a wall of rules I had never heard of. Apparently, the HOA was cracking down on anything remotely out of line because some neighbors complained about property values and community standards. As news of my invisible fence battle spread, the neighborhood became divided. Some neighbors supported me, seeing this as an overreach by the HOA. They shared stories of their own petty conflicts with the board. Others, especially the HOA loyalists, argued that rules were rules, and exceptions couldn't be made for me. I started receiving cold shoulders, whispered conversations when I walked by, and even a few passive-aggressive notes on my door. The invisible fence had become a symbol of resistance and controversy. Ignoring the notice wasn't an option anymore. The HOA began slapping daily fines that quickly added up. They sent lawyers letters demanding removal within days. The pressure was immense. I tried negotiating, explaining how the fence protected my pet and didn't affect anyone else, but the board was adamant. It felt like a personal vendetta. At one point, they even threatened to suspend my community privileges, including access to the pool and clubhouse. This was no longer about a fence. It was a power struggle. Desperate, I decided to take the fight public. I created a website documenting everything, the letters, emails, and fines. I posted on neighborhood forums and social media, hoping to rally support and expose what I saw as bullying. Slowly, others came forward with similar stories of HOA harassment. We started organizing meetings and petitions. The invisible fence wasn't just about Max anymore. It had become a cause for homeowners' rights and common sense. Just when I thought I was fighting a losing battle, an unexpected ally emerged. A veteran board member, known for being strict but fair, privately reached out to me. She admitted the HOA board was being too rigid and promised to push for a compromise. This opened a door to dialogue I hadn't had before. Together, we drafted a proposal to officially recognize invisible fences as acceptable, provided they met certain conditions: no visible markers, no electrical hazards, and proof of humane use. After weeks of tense meetings and heated debates, the HOA board agreed to the compromise. I was allowed to keep Max's invisible fence, but with strict guidelines. It felt like a hard-won victory, not just for me, but for every homeowner who valued practical solutions over arbitrary rules. The experience changed me. I learned about the power of community, the dangers of bureaucracy, and the importance of standing up for what's right. Looking back, I realized the invisible fence war was never really about a fence. It was about control, fear of change, and the fragile balance between individual rights and community standards. I also saw how quickly neighbors could become adversaries or allies depending on circumstances. The battle taught me resilience, patience, and the importance of clear communication. Most importantly, it taught me that sometimes the smallest things, like an invisible boundary, can reveal the biggest conflicts. Today, Max runs freely in the yard, protected by that same invisible fence that sparked so much drama. The neighborhood is quieter, but the lessons remain. I'm now involved in the HOA board, working to ensure future disputes are handled with fairness and respect. The war over the invisible fence may be over, but the story lives on as a reminder that even in the most peaceful places, standing up for your rights is a battle worth fighting.